My guests are in the studio, and we told you that, well, after the inauguration of the transition team by the president, chaired by the President John Dramani Mahama and the president-elect Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we know that it gives the signals for the transition and the transfer of power from one government to the other. Well, it's always easier when we have the same party in government and then you have to do some sort of internal transition. But now, once it's another party, it means that they have to make sure that they do a lot more checks and balances, and they all come to certain consensus on many issues. So we'll have to see and go over some of the little things that need to be ironed out. But we told you at the start of the program that we're going to have experienced members of parliament in the studio. We want to ask them what their experiences have been in the current parliament, what also their projections will be, what really are the challenges of a member of parliament, and if you have to go into an election, what does it mean? And then they have to give us their thoughts on the transition process. And then, of course, we have to look at the last election. What really were some of the hurdles they had to face as people who took part in the campaigning and also those who were contesting. I have just immediately here on my, not my extreme, but just my immediate left, Adams Mutawakilo, known to his constituents in Damango as Gallos. He was a former chief executive as well. Thanks for joining me, Gallos.
Thank you very much.
And also Henry Kwabena Kokofu is a member of parliament for Bantama, but he didn't contest, and so we have a new member of parliament for Bantama elect. And thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Roland.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, we start with the election in itself. What would you say summarily were your own views and your own comments and analysis on the election that just ended?
Good morning to yourself, your good self, and my colleague. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And to your cherished viewers. And as usual, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is watching this program. Good morning to him, the President-elect of the Republic, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, the Vice President-elect, and my toast, the two of them, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, the incoming First Lady, and Hajia Samira, and to all true faithful patriots with our leadership, Chairman McManu, National Executive Committee, as the General Secretary, Acting Chairman, and all the rest, and then my Ashanti Regional Executive. We are so grateful to God this morning to be able to come again so we can start the task of nation building. Summarily, the battle was the Lord's, and we were not selfish enough as New Patriotic Party. We said so. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo said so on behalf of the people of Ghana. And really, the Lord has fought the battle on behalf of the people of Ghana. And we are all seeing a result that is bringing the nation back together. We've all seen a result that comes with no acrimony. And we hope that we will celebrate together. There shouldn't be any excesses. I saw something this morning, I'm not happy, and we need to talk about that. I'm just from the motorway, the toll booth, some gentlemen had gone there, and I'm not happy.
The Tema motorway?
Yes. If the police is listening to me, please, get there and ask my brothers to stop what they are doing. This is not about arresting or anything. I mean, people should be talked to, because my General Secretary has spoken that we will not tolerate any kind of excesses. We experienced something in 2000 during the transition, and 2008. We are all not happy. We don't want to see any of such thing repeating itself. The transition team has been inaugurated, just as you said, and we hope as we progress, we move on, we'll be able to successfully, peacefully transit from one democratically elected government and a political party as it is to another. And we have history behind us to guide us. So we cannot afford to fail in this crucial moment of our political life. We saw it in 2000. We saw it in 2008. One party giving way to another party in government. Just as he said, it will always be easier if you are transiting for yourself and within yourself as a party in government. But it becomes another more thorough work, another more serious work, another more inquisitive curiosity and all other things that comes with it when the transient moment is from a distinct political party to another, as we experience. So by and large, the people of Ghana have spoken. The Lord has spoken. Who are we to say no? We've heard, we've seen, and we all witnessed what happened. So Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is the president-elect for Ghana. Come January 7th, by the grace of God, inshallah, he will swear the oath of office to the people of Ghana. And his government will hit the road running. We are aware, very much aware, of the expectations of our people. We are very much aware of the task ahead of us. We are very much aware, whatever it takes to do. Thankfully, we have a God who loves his children so much. With little effort to do what is right, God will be on our side to progress and then push on. The ordinary Ghanaian out there on the street who wasted his time to go and vote for a government to come in place, whether to maintain the existing government or change, they're expecting only one thing, that we will strive hard, harness all resources available, both natural, human, to make life a bit easier for him or her. And that is the most important, the cardinal principle of governance. And we cannot afford to miss this opportunity to serve our people, serve our nation, to the betterment of our abilities, and to the glory of God. This, we ask all of you to pray for Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his team that will soon come up. So, yeah.
Your initial comments.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I have some severe colds and I coughed for quite some time.
Yes, I know. The
so
electioneering has been stressful.
My voice is not so clear. Just kindly forgive me. And
congratulations to you.
I want to thank you very much. I want to thank the good people of Damongo constituency for giving me the mandate to lead them for the second time. My thanks also goes to Lodina ladies, JM ladies, Arise for NDC, Tanchiso ladies, and all at the other group that had come together to ensure that the Damongo constituency, we had victory both for the president and the member of parliament. As a member of parliament, I will continue to work for them, continue to ensure that the development needs that they required will be provided and will always be available to them, as I always do. My thanks also go to the president for his maturity in handling the nation and his accepting the verdict of the people and quickly following the law in setting up the transitional team. My congratulations goes to Nana Akufo-Addo, president-elect, and come this, January 7th, when he takes over as a member of parliament, we'll continue to monitor and ensure that we had a smooth nation. As a citizen of Ghana, I'm supposed to ensure that Ghana is the ultimate beneficiary. Ensure that criticisms are constructive in nature, where thanks should be given where he has done well. We will not hesitate to let people know that, yes, what he's doing is the best for the nation And whatever he brings to Parliament, we'll scrutinize it and ensure that it is to the benefit of the people of Ghana. And where there are excesses, we will be quickly to point out and provide alternative as to what should have been, so that the good people of Ghana will be able to weigh the two. I believe that Ghana is a peaceful nation, and we've had our 5th successive elections.
Under the Fourth Republic.
Under the Fourth Republic. However, there are some excesses of overjubilation that is a cause for worry. I think after 24 years of the democracy in the Fourth Republic, those excesses shouldn't come. If you destroy any public property, it is a cost to the nation. If you harm any Ghanaian or any citizen of Ghana, it's a cost to the nation because productivity will fall. And as the president directed and supported by the MPP, those people should be brought to book and set as an example so that subsequent election, nobody will think he or she can take the laws into their own hands. Because it's quite worrying. Because
what they are doing is not sanctioned by their elected leader or even the political party that they belong. So these are just mavricks doing what they have to do.
The security agencies should act on it. And we see some people go to prison for that. That will be very, very, it will send out a signal that when your party wins, you elect, you celebrate. Nobody say you shouldn't celebrate. But you shouldn't infringe on another person's freedom. Yeah, the coming years will be of interest because each party went into the election with promises. So there is already a scale that the winning party, MPP, will be measured with at the end of 2020. And that is very, very important to me to be able to analyze them. Yes, they've made several promises. 1 factory, 1 district, 1 dump, 1 village.
We haven't gotten there yet, so when we get there...
Yeah, that's why I said next year. It will be very, very important that we measure that scale. All in all, things have been smooth. The transition, we're now getting matured in our electoral systems and therefore democracy. I believe that with Bagwin coming to Parliament, it will be of interest to us because he has been grooming us, and that means we still have a father to continue to groom us. And most of the elected MPP MPs were people I have worked with. Most of my committee members are there, most of other members, and we coordinate very well. Therefore, getting development to the people will be something that will be of interest to me, and with the cordial relation I have with them, it will be good for us. Okay. Yes, even though we have lost, there are always opportunities coming out of challenges, and we believe as a party we'll take advantage of those opportunities.
What do you make of the transition team? Because we're told that it's headed by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as himself, and the other side also chaired by we have the president, but we have other members of the transition team. What would you make of the transition in itself, the team, and what do you think are some of the likely issues and things that they are supposed to look at?
Yes, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the president-elect, leads our team. However, you have the experienced tactician man there who is really will be on the forefront. Dr. Nana Osafo-Maafo. Indeed, he will be the leader on the ground, since Nana will be engaged in other things, just as the president. I mean,
it's just a formal
leadership.
Okay.
But the real work is going to be done by
the various heads,
the various heads,
okay.
of which Nana Osafo-Maafo is right on top of issues. So you can understand that we really have a group, a team people who understand the various sectors where they take Ken Oforiatta, for instance, who will be doing the finance, representing us on the finance front. He's up and doing, and he can actually. So we've gone in there as a teamwork. And what is it all for? It's important to know what is being bequeathed to you, what your successor is leaving behind, what was there, what has been started that is not finished, what ought to have been done that has not been done, what is completely finished and what is it, including some of these things. And as we cannot, the transition team, from this time they sit up to the day of inauguration, cannot finish all that. These will be major highlights so that it will trickle down to the sector areas, ministries. There must be change of hands, change of notes, change of handing over notes and all kinds of things. Then at the districts and municipal, metropolitan levels, so down. And at key state institutions that new appointments will be made or ought to be made. So it is a process. It's not an event that, yes, the transition team is there, so they finish and they finish their work. No. It will transcend down to the various sectors because we need to know exactly. Ghanaians need to know what is being left, what is there. You remember when you took over in 2000, there was this hue and cry over billions of debts.
The
OPP and all that.
We're going to see that as well.
Well, if it is there, we say it. Whatever we find out there, we will have to let the people of Ghana know the truth, the bare truth. That is why during the campaign period, I very much relied on the 2009 budget estimates, the first ever, when NDC took over, presented by the then Finance Minister, Dr. Kwabena Duffuor. And you read through, you perused through, and you can see what the testimonies that were given and the admonitions that were in there, the rights and the wrongs, all these things. So when you argue about energy, electricity problem, you just go to page 92 of that document, paragraph 405, and the performance of energy 2008. Then you read through. By the time you finish, you know what really was left for NDC, the incoming NDC government then, by the Kufuor administration. And this was a testimony by the government itself. So at the end of the day, when we are in doomsday, we've been plunged into this darkness, and people in government will just say, oh, it was NPP which did this. NPP did not add 1 megawatt to what we had and all kinds of things. You go to that document and it spoke for itself. These are the things that we need to do. And you need to. So references will be made as to the reference point. I mean, talking about a reference point. However, the transition team is not transiting from public toilets. Nobody should go out there and ask for account because the transition team, people will be having their transition team locally somewhere else, public toilets, car parks, and all those things. That is what we are asking people to be restrained of. It does not work that way. Ghana must move on. We are continuing from wherever we picked it, or we are picking it from President Mahama's government. And in order to be able to know exactly where we are, and so we can chart the map properly where we're going. Thankfully, this is a law that has been enacted by Parliament, and going forward, we are looking forward to enact the LI, the enabling, the working law that will
legal instrument.
Yeah, legal instrument.
Legislative instrument.
Yes, that will facilitate these things. In the absence of that, the team, both sides, are matured enough.
We work in some consensus regime.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. They are matured enough and very concessionary enough to be able to advance the cause of Ghana.
And we know the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, is representing the President, heading the team. And we know that there are issues that will come up and they need to iron out certain critical issues of concern for both parties.
Yeah, democracy, I think we've passed the Transitional Act and they are following through it. And the first thing is the handing over of notes from the ministries to the incoming government. They will scrutinize it, and that has been done. The president had indicated, even before the election, he made all the ministries to prepare their handing over notes.
He did?
Yes. So they've handed
so
over.
It's
not like now they are going to prepare. He asked all the ministries to prepare their handing over notes. Whether it is the same government, if NDC had won, it doesn't indicate that the minister in charge of maybe finance will still be the same minister. So you need to prepare your handing over notes. And that had been done. And when they met, they handed over to the transition team from the MPP side, and they are scrutinizing. And I listened to Mustafa Hamid. He indicated, now they will go back and look at them critically. Where there is the need to seek for clarification, they will do it. And where there's the need to set a subcommittee to properly look at some of the aspects, they will do it. So the process is ongoing. And likely this time is first round, so there's sufficient time. Unlike 2009, when elections were declared on the 2nd or 3rd January, and within the matter of 4 days, the transition team has to do. In that case, you can never get any proper work done. You can't use 4 days to do the work. And therefore, whatever is presented initially is just not the detailed work done. And I like my brother mentioned quoting pages, but he never indicated exactly what that page contained. Not everybody had that. You should have given a highlight.
Which one?
And where he quoted were projects that the government, in terms of the power.
You're talking about the power?
Yes, he indicated the power.
You mean the 2009 budget read by Dr. Kwabena Dufo?
No.
Yeah, that's
what you see. Yeah, what I'm saying is that what he indicated, he never indicated the exact what it contained. It indicated the projects that have been undertaken, not the projects completed.
And paid for, and fully paid for, fully funded.
I want to be very clear.
Projects
that are undertaken
and fully funded by the government.
Give me opportunity to where you get the opportunity. So you see, when you the statement you made, the statement you made indicated as if there are already additions as at 2008.
You just said that as an example.
You see, when you make certain statements from 2002, I didn't want to be too political because
this is not political.
From 2001. To 2008.
But the budget is a public document,
yes. What he indicated were projects that were undertaken.
No, it's not
Not yet completed.
It's not true. You are not right.
Tell me those projects that were completed.
Good. He said in that document, he said, in 2006, 2007 energy crisis, the government did solve the problem by ABCD.
Mention the ABCD.
I'm coming. 125 megawatts
of what?
Of power added on to.
What is the name of that power plant?
Pong. Oh, please, the document is there. Let your producers bring it. This is a public document.
Okay. And so let's resolve this.
And it's in the hands.
Which one?
Go back to your office now.
I'm coming.
Go to Parliament.
Which tongue?
Search for the Hansard 2009 and read it for yourself.
Tell me the tongue.
Okay.
And then he went on to say,
specific.
And then he went
tell
on
me
to
the tongue.
Let me tell you.
Is it the KTPP?
KTTP 1.
It was just completed. It's still operational. They are still testing it.
That's
they are still testing it.
We're done with the election.
And he said,
so don't misquote.
And he said,
KTPP is still being tested.
Founded by the government.
You see, now let's come to some.
You see,
let's come to some.
KTPP
please,
just completed a year ago,
and it's
you
lost the elections.
You started it.
I just gave you an example so we can move on.
I deal with when you are paraphrasing something.
It's okay.
I gave you a quotation.
Yes, he indicated the energy
so
situation.
Your point was what? That he raised.
But he indicated that there are ongoing projects. The mine reserve plant which was 80 megawatts.
Back to I
just wanted to prove.
I gave you an example.
So don't paraphrase it.
You know what he did?
But the transition team
tease out that, for example, you can find so and so in the first budget.
Not everybody can
of
find
an incoming
it.
government.
Not everybody can find it.
And he made reference to the.
And he made reference to why when we started complaining. You see, if you had made a general statement, I wouldn't have had a problem.
Okay, so your point is...
So the transition team will continue to work. And with about 1 month, I believe that they will be able to do a thorough job. And I want to urge that shifting the election to November is still very critical. Because if there had been a runoff, that would be 28th December. And therefore, we have challenges in terms of transition. I still believe that the incoming government should look at it and see how come 2020, we should be able to vote early November, such that even if there is a runoff, you still have that 1 month to do proper handing over. I believe that when that is done, all the analysis, assets and liability, work in progress and all that will be looked at, and Ghanaians will know. As we are aware, a lot of issues had come up in terms of debt to GDP ratio and many other things. I know at the end of the day, we'll have proper in-depth into that. However, when going down, doesn't mean that those are the locals should decide to do their own transition. I can tell you that in Damongo constituency, immediately the declaration was made. The YEA and the NADMO office were breached by MPP people. We had to report it to the police to go and open it, and that is not a good start. In 2009, we never breached anything like that. And I believe that we are the same people belonging to different parties, but working for the same mother Ghana. And we must respect the laws of the nation. It's very, very important. It was quite embarrassing.
But Roland, he said one thing which I agree with him concerning the November thing, rethinking about the November elections. However, there's an important step that needs to be done. The LI must come in place. For instance, the recommendations have been made that we should have a standing transitional team. That one would do, even if we are transiting from the same party, one government, there must be a thorough and in-depth information available as to, from this period to this period, what was really there and what was not there. And then again, systematically, as we move on in the governance systems, we must have state properties and other things running to. I remember about 2 or 3 years ago, when the Ministry of Transport proposed that they wanted to re-register all government vehicles and all that, I wrote to Mr. Speaker requesting to bring the minister in charge of Minister of Transport, to come and tell us, Parliament and the people of Ghana,
what the inventory is,
what the inventory was, how many cars, state properties, agency by agency, ministries by ministries, metropolis, district assembly. So we should know and have proper accounting inventory on that sector.
So your point on this is what?
My point is, we should not always wait for transitional periods like this in order to discount, account,
but you didn't hear him. He said the president gave an order to all his ministers that they should put their books in order.
Yeah,
so
I agree. But what I'm saying is,
I'm just recounting what you said.
What I'm saying is, in the process of our day-to-day activities, like in Parliament and all those things, when these things are brought up in the middle of that, we should respond to them. So we'll be able to get, at any material point in time, we should be able to know state assets, liabilities, and all those things as we move on. We should not be waiting for a particular moment of time.
We've seen some of the videos on social media, and these days, even for the election, you'll get to know that social media has become a part of informing and educating people. And some of the attacks on, especially NDC supporters, I think attacks on NDC supporters, not especially in that sense. NDC supporters blatantly is in bad light. how would you condemn the attacks? Because the MPP themselves as a party has come out to condemn this attack.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier on. In the course of jubilation, don't step on somebody's freedom. It is not a fight. Contest is we are all looking for development, but looking at it from different angles. So if you have won, doesn't mean that you should go and venge attack on your colleague. Because at the end of the day, we are the same people. And therefore, the best solution would be the security agencies. They should pick anybody who tries to go beyond the limit of his territory and then prosecute them. That will send a clear signal that if your party has won, doesn't mean that you have the laws in your pocket. The laws must work, and it is very, very important. After 24 years, I think we are getting matured. At the age of 24, most people are even married. And we feel that by then you are responsible. So therefore, our level of jubilation should be of a certain size. I've watched certain like Fiapre, where the toll booth was bent down. That is not the best.
Very much uncalled for.
It's not the best.
Okay.
Why should we build down a public?
You see, I'm a bit worried the way we seem to be exaggerating on this point. These are hot spots. I mean,
these are isolated incidents?
Isolated incidents. However, they are condemnable and they are criminal in nature. This is arson. If you attack an innocent government facility
or person,
I mean, it's a criminal matter. It has nothing to do with celebrations. But we must also...
It's got to do with celebration, only that people are not circumspect in the celebration.
Yes, of course. This is an abuse
and so they are
power.
doing things that are not sanctioned by their parties in any way.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. 2008, when NDC won, the same thing happened. And nobody, I do not believe the NDC as a party sanctioned for it. People in their own individualism, individual concepts, will want to revenge, they want to do all manner of things. If you look at the locations these things are happening, you may go down and it has some kind of history. Something might have gone on before, previously, and now people say this is our time, so this is a payback time, which in itself is wrong. It cannot be countenanced. So, but if we are condemning, we should this time make sure we uproot that kind of canker that unnecessarily raises tension in our midst. People who engages in these things, let us tell them they are acts of criminality. The laws are there to deal with such things, and it will be very, very bad to be called upon as a leader to come to your defense, having engaged in this kind of atrocity.
Would you defend any of your constituents if they were supposed to be part of this?
As a lawyer in court, no problem.
No, not as a lawyer. I mean, if you're caught as the MP and somebody, a constituent of yours is caught and red-handed to have done this.
Well, I'll ask the law to take its course. Then I'll follow it up to the law court.
You'll become a bad leader. You get the traction that you're supposed to.
No. Because if I stampede the public officer from doing his or her duties, it wouldn't augur well for the nation. It should carry on. Investigations must go on. The person must be put before court. Then I'll rope and put on my legal wig and then go and defend at the law courts. At the point, if the court sets the person free, better off.
Okay. You wanted to say something?
That is why I indicated, after 4 years of democracy, it is very, 24 years of democracy, is very critical, and that's why I stated it. Because from 92 to 2000,
is it 24 years? 24
yeah,
years,
2000 was the start of this vandalization and attacks. And we thought that with time, it will vanish.
So it was replicated again in 2008?
2008,
because
people were arrested and a lot of people condemn it.
Aboblishi,
yes.
hacking,
I never said it,
and all those things.
But it was condemned. and people were arrested.
So you are thinking that from this side,
I thought that it should be, by now, it should be something.
Actions were taken, people were prosecuted. If that had happened at that time, you would have had a very...
I know in Tamale, some people were picked up as a result of that.
And prosecuted, punished?
Definitely.
Because he asked me a question. A very, very important
question.
All right, you've never
let's talk the equalization.
But I believe that with this, after a while, this should be like, this is not something.
I get your point.
That is where I'm heading to.
Let's come to this. Now, I want us to share some experiences as you MPs. For example, he will not be going again. But I want to ask you, 4 years being a member of parliament, what are the critical challenges that the ordinary MP faces in such a way that if it comes to a point where he has to account, and the accountability is in two parts, you have to go through a primaries first, one part. If you even win the primary, you have to go to a main election. What are those?
I'll look at the accountability and also separate it this way. I'm an MP. It depends whether I'm in the ruling party or in opposition.
Have you tasted opposition before?
I'm yet to.
Oh.
But from my point of view.
Welcome to the yard.
Because if you're an MP and you are in the ruling government, you are an MP, the executive execute project, you must know that the excesses of the executives affects you.
They become
even
baggage.
Though you might not have direct influence.
They become baggage to you.
Yes, you have to carry them along. And they can affect you as well. So you have the executive in the course of implementation where there are little excesses or discomfort. And then you have to carry it even though you are an MP and you are not part of the executive. At the end of the day, you are part and parcel of it. So we call it externalities. Even though you are not part of it, but the action and inaction of somebody has an impact on you. Then what you as an MP, you have done. But if you are in an opposition MP, your government promised, they didn't win. So the burden is what you as an MP has been able to do and what you have been able to lobby. So those promises, mostly the constituents, don't put those promises on you. For example, if one factory, one district, NDC never promised that. So at the end of the day, the government in power will be asked questions. You promised us this, and you never brought it. So as an MP in a ruling party, yes, you have a lot of challenges. One, in the course of your delivery, people will ask you, you break promises because the party has a manifesto. And as an MP, you use that manifesto to campaign. Now, in the course of delivery, some of the promises you made on behalf of the government are not executed. They would say you promised them and you haven't delivered. You need to be able to prove beyond reasonable doubt what your effort had been. Two, what is your contribution in parliament? Some will say you came to parliament, we never heard you spoke.
That's an issue.
That could be a big issue. We've never seen you on TV. That could be a big issue. Three, you became MP for Accra. You've never visited us. Your frequency of visits go a long way to tell you how you love the people. So there are various criteria, and different people look at it differently. So in some places you go, they say, oh, since you became MP, you've never visited us. And that is their main issue. So there are a lot of challenges as an MP, because people look at things differently.
Yes,
and you have to meet all those things.
Yeah, clearly. We seem to have mixed certain things and we are reaping bad results. What is the core duty of an MP? I remember one of these social and civil society organizations that took that kind of exercise to educate the electorates as to the core duties of a member of parliament. One is about legislation, and then oversight responsibility of the executive arm of governance. These are basic constitutional admonitions. So you enter into parliament and you are expected to follow the procedures and everything. Do research, do whatever to advance the cause of moving the nation forward through parliamentary proceedings, parliamentary work and all other things. At the committee level, that's where the technical things are being done. You need to appraise yourself. You need to understand certain issues. Of late, those who started parliament did not have the benefit of officers and research assistants. We do have, and those are coming in will have. It is for you as an individual to make a mark. You need to go beyond the normal sitting in parliament, rising up, and then all those contributing on the floor of parliament and all that. Quality debate, bringing on board what were not to be there, and then tackling the conscience of the nation through parliamentary debates and all those things. Outside parliament, you have the responsibility to respond to people's and society's needs and thinking, suggestions and all those things, through press conferences, the media engagement and all those things. All these going to advance all that. Back home, where you are representing the people, depending on the constituency you're coming from, the constituency specific and uniqueness of it, they may have other thinking. They may think that infrastructural development, roads, water, and all those things are your responsibility. They see the political leadership in you. However, these things have been ceded to the district assemblies, metropolitan, and we always say that development is at the local level, where the district assemblies does so. But we as politicians, we will sit back and talk about your MP did not do AB, my MP did not do AC, the MP did not do that. And he's talking about opposition. He's talking about incumbency advantage and incumbency disadvantage. The advantage is so huge when your party is in government. Lobbying for projects and all those things.
It's easier.
You have the advantage. The minister is your colleague. You are in meeting with the sector minister. And so you have the advantage. And you being in opposition, if they should advance those things there, it means that is your stronghold. It means that they are helping you to perpetuate your stay in there. They want your people to get angry with you. So they will deliberately refuse to do what needs to. For instance, when you come to Bantama, at my own backyard, the street is called J.C. Kokofu Drive. That's my father's name there. And you come and you see the kind of road network there. Very horrible. Very, very horrible. The reason being that I get to urban routes, write to them, plead with them, lobby, advocate all kinds of things. They will call you, say, oh, contractor A has been awarded a contract. You approach the contractor, he says, they owe me, they haven't paid me, so I cannot do the work. For 4 years that I was in parliament, this project had been given to a contractor. Not a single machine was put out there. That's an example. And it happens all the time. So the people, then they will tell you, your MP did not do anything. That is why Nana Addo Akufo-Addo's government have proposed that $1 million per constituency. So at that point,
you didn't say they will use it for roads.
No,
I don't think that was.
No. I'm not.
Because you set an example of roads.
Yeah, and other things. $1 million
are creating problems as well.
Yeah, don't worry. $1 million per constituency. It is for the constituents, and then the administrator of the funds.
How much is $1 million? It can construct a road, a proper road.
A year. So, and I'm not saying
$1 million cannot construct proper roads.
I'm not saying for roads
with good dents.
I am not saying. I'm not saying for roads. I mean, there can be water problem. There can be sanitation problem to be solved. In farming communities, there can be farming activities and all those things. Per constituency.
And you know, constituencies are very large.
The constituencies are large, and they are unique by themselves, and the problems and challenges are unique.
So you may solve one problem for let's say if I take Ashama for example, people of Lebanon.
Yeah.
And then you haven't solved the problem for the people of Zainu, for example.
Yeah, half a loaf is better than none. So $1 million coming to the constituency for 4 years should be able to change.
Before you wanted to...
I just wanted to add, if you go back to the constituents and you ask them, what do you expect your MP to do? What he's saying, passing good laws, will be maybe the third or fourth.
No,
and that is where, that's where the decentralization problem.
So based on your observations,
I feel that...
What are the priorities?
I feel that DCs, when they are elected...
They compete with you for the position.
No. When they are also elected and they are the implementers, they will carry, they will campaign,
and they will be
on the manifesto of the party, and therefore
you mean they should have.
Yeah, they can hold them responsible
to the people.
Now, I, as an MP who is supposed to be a legislator, goes to promise the people using the manifesto of the party.
Yeah.
At the time of implementation, is given to another person who hasn't gone there. If you go and tell them that the DC is supposed to provide you a 3-unit classroom, and he did, but you came and promised us. It wasn't the DC who came and promised us.
So let me get this.
And you know why? You know why? He has been there, the DC before, and he had gone through that, and now he's an MP.
So he's gone through the mill.
Yeah, he's gone through it.
You have gone through.
So the point is,
you have gone through being an administrative CE.
Yes,
and then
being an MP.
Okay. So
because at the end of the day, you take the party manifesto and go and campaign.
So what's the difference then? Tell me.
The difference,
being a CE, that's a chief executive, and being an MP, in which your positions and the power play is different.
No, as an MP, you are more of a legislator than an implementer.
You're more a ceremonial head when it comes to administration.
Even at the assembly, you are an ex-officio member.
Yeah. Sure.
You don't vote. You can suggest. They can decide to take it or not. You don't have any influence as such on what the assembly execute.
But you
can lobby.
You get respected.
That one, yes.
And you get bashed.
You see?
Yes, of course. If that
who comes to you? You have a peculiar case. So who comes to you?
So as as a DC, you can cover up for your MP. One, with frequent visit to the communities, ensuring them of government plans, what the government wants to do, and you are the one who are supposed to execute it. So your frequency in visiting the various communities and letting them know government programs and activities will sort of lift some load over the MP. But where you don't, the DC don't visit, and you are the MP who goes, you are the only one they have much access to, then that is where the burden is more great.
The last 4 years, you were an MP for a party that is in government.
Yeah.
Now, from what Kokofu is saying, the member of parliament for Bantaman seems to think that in many respects is a better advantage.
I don't think so.
Oh. Then you are coming to opposition, you know.
Let me tell you.
You taste opposition and
let me tell you. Sometimes the opposition MPs sometimes lobby better because they can resist most of the legislations that they bring to on the floor. So sometimes,
so you mean
sometimes those in the ruling government feel that okay, for these people, whatever it is, they will support.
Is it not only when you have the numbers in opposition?
No, I'm telling you something. For this, they can bring out issues. I'm talking about my personal experiences. This one, they can bring out issues. If they don't support, I can't get this thing through. So I need to pay more attention to them. Sometimes you have those.
And you, the opposition MP, can use that period to negotiate.
That is.
Lobby.
Yeah, though you will get projects saying that the opposition MPs may not be able to lobby. Sometimes it is not just the case. Some people are able to take advantage.
Okay,
some people are able to take advantage of their committee to do a lot. Yeah.
In my personal experience.
And you were MP for
Bantama and in opposition. I never succeeded in lobbying for any.
Do I take it that other MPs who I know predominantly Ashanti region is for the MPP also didn't get projects in Ashanti?
Well, I can speak for myself. I wasn't. Yes, I'm not an MP in opposition for opposition's sake. I lived up to that.
The billing.
The billing, yes. And I will constantly put the government on its toes. I mean, within legitimacy, you understand. So, clearly, how do I come? And there was this guy, you're always on our neck and all those things and all. But then you see constructive criticism. Once it is being carried out and accepted in good faith, helps shape our own thinking and our doings and all that. So I wasn't that much worried because I knew, and it is a fact, that the act of development is at the local level, and the constitution and the law mandates the district and municipal and metropolitan assemblies to undertake such. But when it comes to the crunch, where at the primaries level, we are, you said the accountability at the primaries level, that is where your fellow man in your own party will start from there. You did not do this, look at the roads, look at your water is not good and all that, and A, B, C, D. That is where you are caught in the web. And clearly, by the time you say Jack, people would have bought into
you. You suffered a fate in which you didn't go through the primaries.
Yeah.
Was it as a result of that?
Multiplicity, but it played a very huge role.
So yes,
yes, somehow, yeah. And then even where you have done, people will simply, I adopted Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. There is a ward. I have a ward D5, females ward, and and we were given initial amount for rent. It's 50,000 and all. I invested in there, and later on I added on to. People were told in my constituency that I'm so wicked. He got money. We voted for him. He got money, and instead of coming down to share for us, he used it for comfort. And the same people, they had their relatives, their mothers, their sisters, and everything in the ward, getting to the ward, visiting the ward. I did not say anything. I did not talk. But they get there, and they will call back and apologize and said, we got it all wrong. We did not know we were doing the right thing. So sometimes you need to remain focused. You need to disregard of what happens. If you know you are on the right path, just move on. The risk.
But ultimately, you get booted out because there are people who want you. Because even in opposition, people want your seat.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. They want your seat
because you are claiming opposition is not good. But people want your seat. If it was not good, they wouldn't want your seat.
Yeah, but you see, these are the safe seats, the so-called safe seats. Bantama, you are.
If you win, you are in parliament.
You are in parliament. You can go to sleep. That is the thinking. But for some of us, it goes beyond that. There is a contribution to be made. There is something to be made, and you need to leave an indelible mark there. You must be remembered for something of substance. I mean, your contribution to the quality of work in parliament. That is the most important thing.
Propaganda in election, whether internal or external.
Works. You mean whether a party in government or
very effective. Your ability to identify those propaganda.
Share your experience.
And counter it is very, very critical. For example, just recent election, I went to Murugu during the election, and I went with my family and my kids. So when I got down and my small boy followed me, I realized that everybody was surprised, looking at me. And then the kids surrounded my boy, and they were playing. Then I said, okay, let me go and greet the NDC chairman. Then when we got there, more people came out. And they were looking inside the car. So I asked, oh, do you want to play with my boy? Then he came out. And they said, no.
They want money.
People came there and said, I don't have a kid.
That you don't have a kid?
No.
That you don't have children?
I don't even have a wife.
So
and that is their propaganda.
It means you are irresponsible.
People went to claim that I went to the cemetery and I was removing the bones of dead people. And I was charged 20 million and I had to pay. I'm okay.
So it all works against you.
People claim that when I come to campaign, by then our ballot papers and those samples were not out. I always wear a hat. They should ask me to remove. 2 days later, the samples came and I wasn't wearing a hat. So propaganda works. And as you use that and beat them.
No, you
So
say
propaganda.
the hat one again.
That, do you see that anytime I wear a hat? So whenever I come to campaign in at the communities, they should ask me to remove it. 2 days later, Electoral Commission sent samples of the ballots.
And you were not wearing
And I wasn't wearing. Because I didn't wear a hat in the general election. I took it like that. And they look at us and said, no, still you are even handsome than all of them. So propaganda is a tool that people use.
Do you think
it's a very critical
tool? It worked against your party during this election?
When you don't react on time, before you realize, it's too late. And those people, after that, will say, oh, they told a lie on you. We didn't know that it was this. Please, you must have your ears on the ground.
And now you are bidding farewell. So it means that you just have to go into private life as an ex-MP.
Yeah.
You still have your eyes in politics or on the seat. Is that it?
I have my eyes on politics. I remain a politician.
Okay.
And I've gone through the mill. I started as a polling agent. I became an area chairman. We called it ward at that time, before I became the constituency chairman for 2 terms. I had been an assemblyman appointed by President Kufuor at KMA. And at KMA, I served as Finance and Administration Committee chairman, convener, if you will. And then finally, I became an MP. And in the process...
And you were given only 1 term?
Only 1 term. But in the process, I had finished my first degree in natural resources, second degree in natural resources. I went on to do LLB, the Bachelor of Laws. I went to Makola to do the BL, Barrister at Law. I was called to the bar. And then from there, I went to do the Masters in Oil and Gas, LLM. And you know, Parliament, we had 2. Now that I'm not going, it will be only Alhaji Honorable Fuseni Inusa. Yeah, it's my senior 2 years. We are only 2 that holds master's degree in oil and gas. Yes, in Parliament. And beyond that, I'm now reading for PhD in environmental science.
Charlie.
And I've had a lot of engagements internationally with
Dr. Henry Kwabena Kukufu. You're a big man.
And so, I have a lot to do, contribute even to parliamentary work.
On the side?
Outside Parliament.
Okay.
Because
so now you will not be going to the House.
Yeah.
And we know that some of your colleagues, they won their primaries contested and they lost. Mm-hmm. We have notable ones, Hannah Tete, for Utu Senya West, Amadou Sorogo, etc. Well, on your side, we didn't have too many of your people also losing. But I mean, we're talking about colleagues and Parliament and how you make it tick. That kind of... What do you make of the losses and how they will be missed in the next Parliament?
There have been uniqueness of members. Looking at it from the various divide. So the majority will feel the impact of their members going out there. The minority will feel the impact of the members going there. Then the collective, there's one person that is going to be out of Parliament, and the Speaker. The Speaker, Right Honorable Doajao, surely he will not. He did not contest any elections, but he will not be there. He did not contest, but the kind of...
Who did not contest the election?
Honorable Speaker. He wasn't a contestant in any of the elections. By virtue that his party is out of government, surely he will not be the Speaker.
Sure.
But he has a lot of experience, lot more of experience to share with us. And for we, the new entrants, then we had to listen and then learn as we move on. He had one unique character. At a point in time, on the matter of controversy, he will seek the opinion of Papa Uzankoma. He will seek the opinion of key leaders. When it is about drafting legislation, he will seek the opinion of the outgone MP for Ekropon, Honorable W. Obuafo. when it is about leadership and direction and all those things, he will seek the opinion of the minority leader and above all the majority leader. So he was a kind of speaker who want to use the material, the local, the inside, the materials to help shape things. And I think it was quite a good and it was a genius way of doing things. I loved him for that, even though at certain point in time he's inclined to push through certain things for the benefit of his side. But we're going to miss him. We're going to miss the foreign minister, Honorable Hannah Tete. I did not see much of her contribution on the floor of Parliament, but it's understandable. As the foreign minister, she's always out there, and the work schedule does not allow her to be regular and present like some of us who had nothing to do on the other side. But the little time she'll be around, you can see the articulation of ideas, you can defending what needs to be defended and all that. The only time I wasn't enthused was about this Guantanamo 2 thing. She was summoned to come to Parliament to explain, and she spoke for a while. She ended up confusing everybody, including herself. She couldn't explain the Guantanamo scandal or whatever you may put it. There is this also key person going out, Honorable Sorogo. Yes, he has also been very, very, very vociferous.
He was chairman of the
Mines and Energy.
That's your committee.
Yes,
yeah.
I was the vice.
Yeah, very, very vociferous and very, very active. Because he was almost on all the committees, because about 3 or 4.
I know of 2. Mines and Energy and Finance.
And then he was the board chairman at Fire Service. NACOP and Fire Service also?
Not
NACOP?
Fire Service.
Well, the Fire Service
was between 2009 2012. Food and Drugs Board, that is.
Well, the Fire Service, when they imported this
Food and Drugs Authority.
He was on board of
when they imported
Food and Drugs Authority.
Yeah, Fire Service, they imported this kind of clothing, and there were condoms in there and all that. That controversy. And he has always...
It was in the last Parliament, during the period of the last Parliament.
That was between 2009 2012.
Yeah.
It was not when you were in session. Yes.
Okay, but he's very, very conspicuous, and he's always almost.
You think he'll be missed as well because of his experience?
Yes, his experience, and he's always in the house. Yeah, he's one of the key attendees. Yes, I observed. Then who else you talking about?
We have Namasa Namwale. We have a lot of them.
Yeah,
that's for the
Namwale and all those things. And on my side, I think we missed. Papa Usankuma will be mixed so much.
He didn't contest.
He didn't contest. He'll be mixed. He's going out of the house with immeasurable quantities of experience. His demeanor and his approach to problem or challenges solving is unique. He's somebody who always wants to draw from experiences of the past, and then where are we now, and how are we going to project the future coming. And I loved listening to Papa Usankuma. And on many occasions, you approach him on the sideline in private for further explanation to an issue, and he's always there to listen to you. Honorable Abukatu is not coming.
He lost his seat.
He lost
the contest.
Contest, yeah. And Honorable Abongo happened to be my first chairman at the Lands and Forestry Committee, and he was very, very good. He ushered some of us in there and encouraged us to be very active at the committee level work. So as Alhaji Suleiman, Alhaji Seydou Amadou, yeah, Seydou Amadou, yeah. He was the immediate outgoing.
Amadou Seydou.
He did not contest,
no,
but he's not coming back. He will also be mixed by the new going. But the new entrants, you can see the enthusiasm, the youthfulness, and the edge to.
You are not too old at all. In politics, you're not too old too.
Yeah, well, but the edge there to try to make an impact. My only advice would be one of humility, attending Parliament, both in time and frequently, and then listening. It's too good to listen. Before you want to make a statement, before you want to contribute, you should be able to listen to the issues on the floor. Listen to the other colleagues, what the other person is trying to talk about. It is at that point that you can make an informed discussion, and then you'll be taken serious.
You have a new colleague, Kojo Mponkroma, for Fwansia Yeribi, Zaneto Rollins, Clotte Colley, Dr. Okoboy, a couple of them, because your colleagues also lost a lot of their seats.
Yeah.
So how does it take, and what time does it take for you to adjust as a new entrant? Because, for example, he has gotten so much experience, and then instead of making that experience bear, he won't be in, and you already have, but you have to watch new people try to struggle and...
Yeah, thank you very much. Parliament is a different environment. And as a new entrant in 2012, when I came in 2013, you need to have some grooming. They need to groom you. Irrespective of your knowledge, when you come to Parliament, it's a different field. You need to be guided, and that's why I always thank Honorable Bagbin and Honorable Muntaka. When we came to Parliament, they sat with us for quite a number of times, tried to guide us and to let us know how Parliament operates. And that enables some of us to pick up. And truly, any new entrant who thinks he's already on top of issues will always find himself wanting on the floor when given the chance to contribute. Because you have to also always ask questions. What you don't understand, look for somebody who has been there. If somebody is even a Form 4 leaver or SS leaver and is there for 2 terms, you're a master's degree holder, when you get there, the experience that he has,
you don't have.
You don't have it. Don't always look at it in terms of qualification. Ask, and you can be guided. And that is how we learn in Parliament. It's not a classroom whereby you just be taking through topics. You have to always ask. If I want to do this, what is the mode of presentation? You might know how it is, but if you don't know how to present it, you'll present it and they will laugh at you. And also in Parliament, you must develop a speciality in a field. Don't be jack of all trade. If you want to be jack of all trade, you won't be remembered. You must develop a speciality in an area, such that when it comes to that area, they know that this person is there. And in Parliament, we have elders, like Papa Usa Nkoma, Cletus Savoka, Bagbin, and all those things. That is the last resort. Where we, the young one, contribute and do, and they need a direction, the speaker will always resort to, and the minority leader, to those people for guidance. And we miss quite Honorable Sorogo. He's the chairman for Mines and Energy Committee for the past 1 year. We have worked together. And I always say, when it comes to presentation, in terms of presenting a report, don't joke with him. Don't joke with him. And always I sit by him when we have any report to be laid or any bill, because I learned a lot from him, and he will be missed. Yeah, we have other colleagues, Honorable Hanatete. Yes, the last minute, his contribution in trade and industry in getting some of the agreements and co-passed when the minister wasn't present was very, very much appreciated. She was there to do it. And we'll miss them a lot. But I believe that the newcomers, when they come, they should sit down, willing to learn. In a matter of a year, they should be able to pick up. But I'm also happy because we still have some old people who are still there to guide us. Very old people who are still there to guide those of us who are there for one term and those who are coming from. Parliament is about experience. It's about experience.
Now, what would be your experiences, some of your worst experiences or some of your best experiences that you take away with you, that you can always...
if you have Honorable Jogate, the second deputy speaker, and apart from being a lawyer, he simply understands the dynamics of the game. He will be there for you to consult, and he's always prepared to give you the opportunity, the chance to express whatever you have, and to guide you. He's very much appreciated. He will just walk to you and say, "Thank you, you did well." And these are the things that makes you feel like you're doing something. My colleague talked about developing specialties. Very, very key. You must, when a subject or an area is mentioned, people should, I just mentioned W. Boafo. When it's about draft legislation, I mean, the art of it, you simply cannot miss him. I mean,
you can't ignore him.
You can't ignore him. He's there, and you talk about those things. On my part, personally, I'm so proud and happy with whatever contributions, little ones that I was able to do. I loved the committee work at the committee level. Even though I wasn't a member of the Environmental Select Committee, I used to. The chairman would invite me. I used to go on my
What did they say, friend of the committee?
Friend of the committee, yes. Because environmental and natural resource management are intertwined somehow. And so at my substantive committee, I relish working at the committee level. You look at it and all that. And being a lawyer by profession, when it gets to the legislation and then the drafting, when you have the Attorney General's department, the drafters coming in, the experienced lawyers and all that. Then you have the sector agency, technical people coming in, invited consultants coming in to shape the thinking and the minding and all those things. Then that is where you brainstorm. And the contributions you make, the suggestions you make, the kind of touch you put to it makes you feel happy, makes you feel satisfied and full. And I'm going to miss that one also. And then, there are situations on the floor of Parliament, you have an opportunity, a chance to chip in on one or two things. And it goes down well with all the people and everybody is appreciative. That one, you are happy. There will be controversial issues around and all that. You stepped out of Parliament and the press are with you. I mean, and I've never been a media shy person. I always want to
be at the limelight.
Engage the media.
I see that's for you love media.
Very much so. Because it's a vehicle to get yourself projected or something of the sort. You may have all the ideas, you may have all the thinking. If you don't get the projection, you don't get the platform, you don't get the forum, it will remain a stockpile kind of thing. So I'm going to miss that. But there's one thing there's one thing that was frustrating and disappointing. When there's an issue and you know you're on top of the issue and it's being discussed on the floor, on the debate, and you are excluded from, because for want of time, for lack of time, sometimes opportunities are shared between the divide. Say 4 people will speak from here, 4 people will speak from here. And normally it goes with the seniors. So you know you are very much on top of this issue, but you not get the opportunity. That time you get frustrated. All right,
so the two of you wish you all the best. And my good friend Adam Mutawakilu Gallos.
Thank you.
Known to, when did you, was that your school name? Or you adopted it when you were chief executive?
No.
Okay.
I started it at the secondary school.
All right,
it was a young guy.
Adam Mutawakilu is a member of parliament for Damango, again retained, and so will be part of the newly inaugurated parliament. That will be a pre-inauguration activity before we have the inauguration of the president-elect Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo on the 7th of January 2016. And also Henry Kwabena Kokofu is a member of parliament for Bantama. He's no more going to parliament, and so will not be part of the next parliament. But I will say again, kudos to you and congratulations.
Thank you.
At least you can see he has an insignia there showing that his party is in power. He's beaming, always smiles. But we hope that you can lobby and get a position and serve the good people of Ghana as well. But now that will be where we draw a curtain to our discussions on the AM Talk segment.